Well, the Kentucky Book Festival is happening this weekend, and one of our celebrated local authors has a brand new book that he'll be featuring, and it's called Anatomy of a Duel, Secession, Civil War, and the Evolution of Kentucky Violence.
Oh,
it's quite a title,
yeah,
right?
it is.
And it dives into the history of dueling in Kentucky.
That's right. And with us today is author Stuart Sanders to talk about the new release and all kinds of other stuff that you're into. Hey, Stuart.
Thanks for having me.
Full disclosure, Stuart's a colleague and friend from the Kentucky Historical Society, one of the management team there. And Stuart, correct me if I'm wrong, is this your fifth book?
It's my fifth book.
Yeah,
right.
We're very excited about this. I've always been fascinated with the dueling culture, the Southern honor culture. But you're setting this book against the fact that people were still doing this while the Civil War was raging on around them. You'd think we'd be full up with on violence at that point.
It seems crazy. And this was a duel that was fought between a Union colonel and a pro-Confederate civilian in May of 1862 up near Maysville, Kentucky. So right on the Ohio River, they fought this duel.
Very exciting. So how long did it take you to do your research and prepare this book?
Hard to tell, because I work on several projects at once. We're probably 4 or 5 years at least.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of in-depth research.
And not just this duel, but you dive into some subsets on the Kentucky dueling tradition, which, as we know, is on the books legally for a long time.
Yeah, and Henry Clay, one of Lexington's favorite sons, fought 2 duels, once when he was in the Kentucky legislature, once when he was a congrison. So that sort of dueling culture among upper-class Kentuckians was sort of alive and well during much of the 19th century.
It's a fascinating topic.
Well, and it's why was dueling so important to people back then?
Well, for a lot of these, they were all white males, sort of upper-crust people. Their reputation was sort of paramount. And so if their reputation were sort of questioned or insulted in any way, you wouldn't want to be called a coward, so they would end up issuing a challenge to duel. And so for this particular duel during the Civil War, the pro-Confederate guy had gotten arrested by Union authorities and had been sent to out-of-state prisons, felt that had impugned his honor and insulted him, so he ended up challenging Leonidas Metcalf, this Union colonel, who's the man who actually arrested him. That's how they ended up finding their way on the dueling ground.
And this was just something understood back then. You've offended me, sir. I'll see you on the field of honor. And then there you were with your second to make sure that things were handled appropriately.
Yeah, the rules were followed. And this duel was interesting because, people are familiar with the Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr duel, thanks to the musical Hamilton, where, typically pistols were used at about 30 paces. But in this duel, they actually used rifles at 60 yards. So it's a little bit of a different type of
And you
duel.
feature this on the cover of the book. This is a Colt repeating rifle.
Yeah, Colt revolving rifle it was called. And they loaded it with 1 round and fought at 60 yards. And, there was a crowd of several hundred people who watched. And typically they try to keep duels under the covers and quiet, but word had spread and a lot of people showed up.
So, Stuart, we want to invite people to come out, meet you, get an autographed book, and you're going to be at the Kentucky Book Fair this Saturday.
It'll be this Saturday at Joseph Beth's from 10 to 5 p.m. So I think they have about 150 authors there. So history authors like me to novelists to children's authors, it really runs the whole gamut.
Wow.
That's incredible.
What if a gentleman did not want to duel?
Well, typically,
well, they say no, thank you.
It happened on occasion, but they'd be sort of called out as a coward, and that could affect your business, your family, and sort of how you were seen in society. And so typically you'd get backed into a corner. A lot of duels fizzled out during the negotiations. It was sort of a long, protracted process, but in a lot of instances in Kentucky, they were fatal, unfortunately.
Wow. So Joseph Beth will be carrying the book if they miss you this Saturday, but the idea is to get out, meet you, talk about the book, get it signed, which means a lot to me as a book lover.
Yeah, me too.